Hey guys, and welcome to a brand new video here on FPL Now. Today we're going to be going over a potential wildcard draft for Game Week 9. So if you're excited for the video, drop a like down below, leave a comment, what transfers are you thinking of making this game week, subscribe if you're brand new, and let's get into the video. So starting things off, let's take a look at the goalkeepers and the defenders for this Game Week 9 wildcard draft. I've gone with Nick Pope and Dubravka in goal. Instead of the Raya Gabriel double up, I do prefer the Gabriel and Timber double up, but I'll talk about that a little bit more later. But yeah, Nick Pope and Dubravka. Of course, Dubravka is just a staple, 4 mil playing goalkeeper. Has actually had some really good returns this season as well, just off the back of a 9-pointer. So yeah, very, very good player to just have, and then obviously can play if Nick Pope has like Arsenal away or something. But either way, Dubravka obviously makes the squad. And then yeah, I've got Nick Pope as well, who is actually cheaper than Raya, and also picked up a ridiculous assist last night as well, with the biggest goalkeeper throw I've ever seen. I don't even know that was even humanly possible, but he absolutely smashed it out of the park. But yeah, I do prefer Nick Pope and the two outfield Arsenal defenders as opposed to a Gabriel Raya double up, just because the clean sheets are kind of just always banked for Arsenal at this point. They just cannot concede. They're just so good at the back. So I just like the additional attacking threat that Gabriel and Timber bring. Obviously, Gabriel scored again last night in the Champions League, and then Timber does also offer that attacking threat as well. They are a little bit more pricey than if you went like Raya, Gabriel, and like Dan Burn. There's not a lot in it, but it is slightly more pricey. But I think the returns will benefit. It's only like 0.2, 0.3 or something more. It's not a crazy amount. So I do like the Arsenal defender double up instead of Raya and Gabriel. But again, it's up to you. Maybe if you don't have the money, then you just go Raya, Gabriel, and Dan Burn. But if you do have the money, I don't mind this this kind of triple up instead. But either way, those are the goalkeepers. And then yeah, at the back we've got Gabriel and Timber. As I just said, off of that attacking threat, very solid at the back. Barely conceding anything at all at the moment. In fact, they're not conceding anything at all at the moment. So yeah, really like those two options. Also gone for Senesi as well. Again, another defender that's been absolutely ridiculously good to own this season. His price is now getting higher and higher, but his defensive contributions are on point. Like I think he's only missed one game week where he hasn't hit DEFCON. Apart from that, he's always in like the bonus points as well if they do keep a clean sheet. Very nice player to own. Also gone Richards as well. I would prefer to have a Munoz here, but I just don't have the funds for it. So we've gone Richards instead. The fixture for Crystal Palace this week isn't ideal, being Arsenal away, but you just bench him anyway. And then after that, they do have some pretty nice fixtures coming up, which is obviously why Richards is in the team. And I've also gone for Mukiele as well. Again, just for a cheap Sunderland defender. It's honestly between him and I think it's like Alderete or something, who's another like 4.1 mil defender for Sunderland. Again, you can go for whichever one you want. They both have had ridiculously good game weeks at some point in the season. I think they've both got like 17 odd point hauls or whatever. But yeah, as opposed to your like Esteve and your Leeds defenders, your Rodons and stuff, the Sunderland defenders just seem to be a little bit better to own, and they're all around the same price as well. So yeah, I definitely prefer the Sunderland defenders over like a Leeds or a Burnley defender. Plus you already have Dubravka in goal anyway for that Burnley defense if you need to play him for whatever reason at some point in the season. But yeah, those are the defenders and the goalkeepers for this Game Week 9 wildcard draft. Moving on, let's take a look at the midfielders for the Game Week 9 wildcard draft. We'll start off with Enzo because that is a big talking point for 6.7 mil. Is still flagged. We'll have to wait and see what happens this week with Chelsea. I think they might actually play tonight, so we'll have to see if he's in the squad. If not, then obviously we'll have to wait for press conference at the end of the week. And if he's confirmed to be out, then obviously you don't have him in your team. You bring in a different kind of 6 mil-ish player. You could bring in somebody like Njai, but you also have Dewsbury Hall, so it's probably not really worth it. But yeah, there's other kind of 6.5-ish mil players around that price point. But with Cole Palmer being out for like another 6 to 8 weeks, Enzo is on penalties. He's a lot more attacking as well. And he's got Sunderland at home this week. So if he is fit, I think he's a staple on a wildcard draft. And like I say, he's playing so much more attacking as well in the absence of Palmer. If he is out, then obviously João Pedro will probably get penalties, but I just feel like Enzo is just such, if he's in the squad, obviously he's such a good player to own. So yeah, Enzo Fernandez in the squad, but again, barring injury updates, he may not be in there by the end of the week. Also gone Saar as well. Again, Arsenal away this week, not ideal. You don't have to play him, especially if you're running the double Arsenal defence, but pop him on your bench, and then after that, the Crystal Palace fixtures are really, really good. So you can just bring him in after that, but it's just saving you a transfer to have him on your bench this week, because you could just play a 3-4-3 anyway. You can bench both Richards and Saar this week if you really wanted to. You could play Saar, but again, if you're running double defence, it's probably not worth it. But yeah, Saar's in there. Again, Crystal Palace have just been ridiculously good for XG this season. I think they're one of the top teams, if not the top team for XG, like non-pen XG this season. It's very, very high. So having a couple of Crystal Palace players is not bad at all. And then yeah, Dewsbury Hall just for the 5 mil player on set pieces. Not as good as obviously owning someone like Njai who's on penalties, but for that 1.5 mil cheaper option, I don't mind Dewsbury Hall. And also I just can't fit Njai into this team as well. I have 0.6 mil in the bank. You might have more than that, you might have less than that, but there is a transfer that I do want to talk about that you potentially will be doing after this game week. But either way, Dewsbury Hall's in there, and then Semenyo, again, one of the best players to own this season. Is just absolutely ridiculous. His prices just keep rising and rising and rising. If you don't have him, bring him in, because his effective ownership is so high, and he's just, like, say, having the season of his life, as well as Bournemouth just are anyway. I do not mind having Semenyo in my team at all. He's a little bit like Haaland. You can just kind of rely on him to get points most weeks. And then finishing off the midfielders, we do have Bukayo Saka. Still on penalties, even though Gyökeres was on the pitch. So that's obviously a massive plus. 9.9 mil is a bit expensive, but obviously a lot cheaper than players like Salah. Arsenal are just looking very, very good at the moment. And I just do prefer the double Arsenal defence and Saka triple up instead of double Arsenal defence and Gyökeres. Again, a little bit more expensive to bring Saka in than Gyökeres. And I know that Gyökeres just scored 2 last night, but his league form has been abysmal. You know, he's on like 4 games in a row where he's had a blank. And again, Saka hasn't really produced a crazy amount anyway, but even in the last game week, didn't get any attacking returns, got defcons, and also got 2 bonus. So he came away with a 7-pointer without even getting an attacking return. So it's very nice, because Saka does have a good kind of like chance of getting those defcons and stuff as well, which is also very, very nice. And like I say, on penalties as well. So yeah, I definitely prefer Saka to Gyökeres, but of course does cost you like 0.9, 0.8 more or something. But either way, those are the midfielders for the Game Week 9 wildcard draft. Finishing things off, let's take a look at the forwards for the Game Week 9 wildcard draft. Pretty much picks itself at the moment. There's not really a ton of really, really good forward options right now that I like the look of. Of course, Haaland's in the draft. You'd be silly not to have him. He's just on absolute form. Absolute ridiculous form, should I say. Scored again last night in the Champions League. I think he scored in like 12 consecutive games now or something, which is just absolutely ridiculous. I think he's going for Vardy's record now in the Prem anyway. So yeah, he's obviously a staple, has to be in the team. Also gone for Voltamide as well. Again, not on penalties, unfortunately, but Gordon has been leaving the pitch around 60-ish minutes in the league. So if Gordon's off the pitch, then obviously Voltamide will have the penalty, like he did score that ridiculously good penalty against Forest. So yeah, if Gordon has been subbed off early, which again he has been, then the penalty will go to Voltamide. So he's like a half penalty taker at the moment. If Gordon's not on the pitch, he's definitely on it. And like I say, Gordon has been getting that early sub quite a bit recently anyway. I think over the last 3 games or something. In fact, I'll just check it right now. If I go to Gordon's minutes, he has had 69, 69, 66. So, like I say, coming off around 60, 70 minutes gives you about a 20, 30 minute gap window where if there is a penalty, Voltamide will take it. But he's just been in really good form as well anyway. He's scored quite a few. I think he scored 3 on the bounce actually. So, yeah, decent little option to have. And then the last striker is João Pedro. Now, I don't really like owning João Pedro at the moment, just simply because he hasn't registered a shot on target for like 4 or 5 game weeks, which is just ridiculous. I do understand that obviously not having Cole Palmer and stuff does affect him. Obviously, Enzo wasn't in that Forest game and stuff, but they still scored 3 goals and he wasn't involved in any of them. So again, he's been very much underperforming a lot, but as well as that, his XG numbers are just really low as well. So it's not even like he's getting unlucky. He's just not creating chances. He's just not taking chances, which isn't ideal. But when he's got Sunderland at home, I feel like you have to have him on a wildcard draft this week, because the transfer that I'd rather have obviously is Mateta, but he's got Arsenal away. So I don't think it's worth having Arsenal. I don't think it's worth having Mateta for Arsenal away this week, even though it does save you a transfer, because that means you will have to play either Mateta or Saar this week. which you don't really want to do. So maybe you have João Pedro for this week, and then in game week 10, you get rid of him, you bring in Mateta. He is only 0.1 more than João Pedro, so it's not like you have to break the bank to bring him in. But Mateta is on penalties, and after the Arsenal game, he has some really, really nice fixtures, being Brentford at home, Brighton at home, Wolves away, Man United at home, Burnley away, Fulham away. Has just scored a hat-trick, should have scored more as well. He did miss that sitter in the 90th minute, but like I say, on penalties as well, so I think he's just a given. But I just wouldn't really bring him in this week, so I prefer João Pedro. And then you can, obviously, if anything else goes wrong in the team, you can keep João Pedro, because the Chelsea fixtures are still really good. He's got Spurs away, Wolves at home, and Burnley away. He's not like an immediate sell, but if you want, obviously, Mateta in instead, then I definitely prefer, obviously, Mateta over João Pedro. It's definitely, if you're wildcarding next week, definitely Mateta over João Pedro. This week, because if he goes and scores like a brace against Sunderland, you're just not going to get rid of him. But if he blanks again against Sunderland, you're more likely to get rid of him. But it's just nice to have that other transfer in the back, knowing that Mateta is going to come in if João Pedro doesn't sort it out. But either way, that's kind of the wildcard draft that I've come up with for Game Week 9. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, drop a like down below. Leave a comment. Are you thinking of wildcarding this week? If not, what is your transfer going to be this week? Subscribe if you're brand new. Ring the notification bell. Have a great rest of your day. And until next time, peace.